Cell. Thank you for joining me. Happy Saturday, everyone. This is a two-part live pertaining to Sean Puffy Combs. His attorney, Anthony RICCO, has removed himself as counsel. He has not given a reason why. Attorney-client privilege, and basically says there's no way that he can continue. What does that mean? Take the poll on my community page. I ask you the question, why did this man remove himself as Puffy's lawyer? Second part of this live is pertaining to the Hale House in Pontiac, Michigan, where 3 vulnerable children were left to fend for themselves by their biological mother. The condo is now being cleaned up. I'm going to bring you that said video pertaining to that debacle coming out of Pontiac, Michigan. And as most of you know, the mother is incarcerated in the county jail, $250 million bond. So far, she has not posted bond. She faces life in prison on 3 counts of first-degree child abuse. If you'd like to donate to this great network, $BigAngie129 Cash App. Stickers and chats are always welcome during the live stream. Thank you for joining me.
Doing fine. It's a difficult circumstance. He's making the best of the situation.
A situation one of Diddy's attorneys won't be part of moving forward. Anthony RICCO announcing in court docs, under no circumstances can he continue defending the embattled rapper.
This is a serious proceeding with serious consequences, and all of us are addressing it accordingly.
In a motion filed on Thursday, RICCO stopped short of revealing why he's stepping down from Diddy's legal team, just months ahead of the music mogul's scheduled trial date in May for sex trafficking and racketeering charges, all of which Diddy's denied.
You know, Dr. King called it the law of unintended consequences. So sometimes the more you push a person down, the stronger they get.
That's RICCO speaking up late last year for his now former client. ET's learned the attorney's exit will not affect Diddy's other attorneys, nor their defense strategy.
I told Mr. Combs I'm going to try and get his case to trial as quickly as possible. He has been ready to defend since he first found out about this case. Nothing has changed from his perspective.
We're going to head on my fight. They're going to be shutting them down. They're going to probably be arresting me.
After Diddy was arrested, RICCO said he provided a high level of legal representation.
He did get arrested.
But now, for reasons unknown, he can under no circumstances effectively serve in the upcoming trial.
Nobody's okay with staying in jail for now.
All right, everybody. Mr. RICCO has removed himself as counsel. Why? What happened? Disagreement with the Puffy, the strategy to defend him? Disagreement with the other attorneys, personal reasons that have nothing to do with the case. What are we talking about here? Take the poll on my community page where I ask you why this man removed himself. Your options are: his conscience wouldn't let him continue, disagreement with other lawyers, Puffy, not sure, or other reasons unrelated to case. You have 4 options. So far, no one has taken the poll. Feel free to mosey on over to my community page and take the poll. Feel free to also comment below the post if need be. He says under no circumstances can he continue. Those are strong words. Under no circumstances. That would lead me to believe that there's something negative, which the case is negative due to the allegations, of course. But perhaps he realized he can no longer in good conscience represent Sean with all these different allegations against people who were children at the time. Maybe he felt like, okay, I'm a party to this nonsense, which we know by law, you're entitled to representation. When you have been accused of a crime, that is the law. You are entitled to have a lawyer, hire one, or a public defender, or you can represent yourself. But maybe this guy felt like, I'm in over my head, Puffy's in over his head, I'm done with this. Or are there other reasons, personal? Maybe he's not feeling well, sick, somebody's sick. Somebody else needs his undivided attention. I don't know. But weigh in. Let me know your thoughts. The fact that you hear Puffy in this older video talking about his parties and getting arrested, well, your dream came true. You finally got arrested. And it seems like a lot of people are pulling up older footage from things that Sean Puffy Combs has said over the years, and those words have now come back to haunt him. One event, he was talking, grabbed the microphone. He was speaking about the options of what can happen if your child went away with him to record, and the options were horrible. And guess what? All those options have been made into allegations by various people. And I find that very interesting, how you can get up at a public function, don't know what function it was, but he was talking about what can happen to your child if you give him access to your kid to have some alone time with him, either for 2 days, a weekend. And basically everything he said in those options, people have alleged improprieties by him against them. It's very interesting. Very interesting. Do you believe most of the allegations? Do you believe the allegations by Cassie Ventura? She's the catalyst of this indictment. And the fact that, this is earlier content spoken by Mr. RICCO, about, aiding him in his case and him, steadfastly wanting to go to court. The point is he put himself there. He put himself, and he has not seen to change, in my opinion, because as I've stated in this commentary, last winter of 2024, he contacted a witness 58 times. He also was still having freak-offs, knowing he was being investigated by federal authorities. And when he was arrested in September of 2024, he had pink powder in baggies in his hotel suite. So that leads me to believe he has no remorse for his actions, his behavior. He has no empathy for his victims or anybody that he has hurt, harmed, retaliated against, physically, mentally, verbally, blackmailed. He doesn't feel anything because he's empty inside. And that's why he's behind bars right now. Because that's the thing about life. You can only swindle cons so long. I don't care what it is that you're doing illegal. Even if it's just grand manipulation. Your sins will find you out. And that's what has happened to Sean Puffy Combs. His sins have found him out. Will this attorney ever speak on why he removed himself? Perhaps later down the road he will tell us why, because most people do. They wait a couple of years, and then they decide to write a book or do a documentary, and they decide to tell you the 411, what was going on during the case, how it went, who said what, who didn't get along. And I got a feeling this man here, he probably will follow the latter and tell us what happened his short time representing Sean Puffy Combs. So, if there was no disagreement with the team or Puffy or both, how does Puffy feel about Mr. RICCO removing himself? How do the other lawyers feel about Mr. RICCO removing himself? Are they worried that he might give some tea down the road, which we know he's not supposed to, because that would be a violation of the client's rights? We will see. All right, everybody, we're going to now go to Pontiac, Michigan, to this horrible case of a mother who abandoned 3 of her children, and the condo where she was living, where the children were living, is now being cleaned up by, I don't know who is doing the cleaning, if it's the city or if it's somebody that the owner of the condo hired, but we will see. All right, 5 people have voted pertaining to Sean Puffy Combs in this case, why Mr. RICCO removed himself. 60% said his conscience wouldn't let him continue. And then 40% of you said you're not sure. Thank you all who voted. I really appreciate that. Here's the latest information of the lawyer removing himself, New York Post. These are my updates. Feel free, Menendez Brothers attorney, he's been speaking to News Nation. We're going to talk about this guy a little later if you don't mind. This Mr. Luigi, who shot the CEO of a healthcare company. Why are people rallying behind him? Really, this should be a segment on My Crazy America, because I'm trying to figure out why are people supporting this man who murdered a man in cold blood. It just goes to show you that really a lot of Americans are very hypocritical in their ideology, how they think one way, oh, I'm against murder, but then you'll aid a man who just murdered a man in cold blood on a public street because you all disagree with how the company did business. Well, if that's the case, there wouldn't be anybody alive. The mayor would be dead, the governor, the senator, hell, number 47, let's keep it real. If you're just going to disagree with a person, and then you say, well, I don't like their practices, I don't like how they're running the company, I don't like what the company's doing, I'm going to now hunt this person down and unalive this person. Also, the firing of federal workers. We can also talk about that during this live stream if you like, just to kill a little bit of time pertaining to all these firings. How do you feel about these firings? I think there are a lot of people who realize their vote for number 47 is null and void at this point. You have been hoodwinked and bamboozled. You have been misled. But see, as I've always told people, some people you can't tell them anything. They have to learn the hard way. And I think there are a lot of Americans now seeing you made a terrible, terrible mistake by voting for him. But it's in the scripture. You're not supposed to put your faith in man because you will surely be disappointed. And I'm sure there are many Republicans, independents, very disappointed at the current moment. You live and you learn. All right, everybody, we're going to Detroit. CBS Detroit is the source of this information. Welcome to the Vault XL.
Continues it to Kelly Bryant, a woman accused of abandoning her children for years. In the meantime, crews have started the long process of cleaning out that townhome that those children were in. CBS News Detroit's Heath Cow is in Pontiac asking neighbors about this case and the cleanup ahead.
Well, I spoke to some of the people who were tasked with cleaning out this townhome behind me, and they told me they've never seen anything like it before.
There was feces everywhere. Everywhere on the walls, wiped on the walls. The toilet was like filled up this much.
Cleaners spent all day Friday inside of the townhome on Liberty Lane.
Yeah, look at his truck. Jesus Christ.
3 children spent almost every
Yeah, he needs a new truck, don't he?
For over 4 years while they were abandoned from their mother.
Wow.
The condition the residence was in is what Sheriff Michael Bouchard describes as deplorable.
I never seen nothing like this before. You know, how could someone do something to kids like that? Treat them just like a dog, you know, it's just terrible.
I spoke to a woman who lives about 10 doors down in the same complex, who told me she's still in shock, and that after living in foster care herself, she's astonished these 3 children were allegedly abandoned for so long without anyone finding out.
It's tragic, it really is. It's been about 4 years, so they were a lot younger when this started, and just the fact that their mom shows up once a week to give them a little bit of food with no hygiene products or anything, it's going to have a lot of long-term, lasting effects on them, and it stinks.
Lovegrove also mentioned the confusion herself, much like many others are feeling, about how the neighbors that shared walls with the abandoned children didn't smell or notice anything off.
Exactly.
Honestly, something like that's going to penetrate. I
Exactly.
smell sometimes people cooking in their own places.
Exactly.
So the fact that
Exactly.
their neighbors didn't notice anything, there were no kind of rodent problem or anything that they were noticing, is very shocking.
Bryant is now being detained on a $250 million cash bond. For now, here in Pontiac, I'm Heath Cow, CBS News Detroit.
All right, everybody, so let's go back. Cleanup guy talking about the property. Let's take a look at this. God, look at his truck. His truck is horrible. He needs a new truck, my goodness. I'm not trying to be funny, but damn, the weather up there has eaten his truck alive. Okay. Refrigerator, stove, bags. They've taken a lot of things out in the past couple of days. This is just abhorrent to even try to grasp this happened to children, okay? You have adults who actually live like this with animals, okay? And I think some people say it's disrespectful to even say, hey, you wouldn't treat a dog this way. But we know that people do mistreat dogs. People mistreat animals, they mistreat humans. It's the nature of the beast. People are just cruel. But how did it come to be these children slip through the cracks of no one caring enough to say something's not right? We don't hear anything about the kids. We're not seeing the children. This lady was on Facebook, or shall I say this female was on Facebook, Kelly Bryant, but she's never with her children. She's not posting pictures of her children. She's not talking about her children. She's talking about everything else, screwing and sex and posing in provocative clothing. Sorry about that, everybody, having difficulties. Kelly Bryant showed the world that she is not in tune to rearing children. Can she teach you how to be a mother or a father? You have to learn that really on your own. You have to decide if it is for you, motherhood, fatherhood. But grasping, if you want. That's what I don't understand about this female. Why would you continue to have children? She's having a back-to-back, back-to-back. A total of 4 children. One of the child was living with his father. And this is what the 3 were left behind with. You heard this woman speaking who also said she was in foster care as a child. This is probably traumatizing to her, seeing and hearing this information. How's it that nobody smelled anything? Exactly. So I'm going to ask the people who live nearby right now, all these different apartment doors, windows, I bet you can smell something now. I bet you can smell something now. How could you not? Did any of the rodent problem? Insects, ants. Because with this type of filth, you're going to have roaches, bed bugs, possible rodents, mice, insects, because insects feed on trash, such as maggots. Stay woke, everybody. So I won't doubt all of those things were crawling around in this apartment and in the furniture, because we know that flies lay eggs. Come on now. So there were probably maggots, flies, bugs, roaches. Hell, a new type of roach probably was formed with all that trash. A new type of species. Hey, let's keep it real. This is atrocious. And those people working in there, they're taking that odor with them. Let me make that clear. For anybody who has never been in a very deplorable situation, a car or a home, a shed, you take that odor with you out of there. So those guys get in their car after working in that filth, okay? So I would hope that they had a plastic bag in tow with them when they were done cleaning up, and they slipped out of those boots and shoes and put them in a plastic bag and possibly have a tarp over their car seat, because you're carrying those germs and, God forbid, any live bugs with you. You're carrying them in your vehicle. You carry them home with your clothes. You literally have to strip down naked outside your door. And God forbid you live in an apartment, you can't strip down naked, you know what I'm saying, on your porch. And then too, it probably wouldn't be a good idea to do it outside your door at your house, but you don't want to walk in your house in those clothes. You do not want to walk in there with anything on coming out of there. And I don't think people really realize the hard work of people such as maintenance workers, city workers, who have to go in to dilapidated homes, structures, and clean them out when they're filthy with fecal matter, urine, defecation from animals, molded furniture, debris, trash. You're talking about vermin, roaches, bed bugs crawling around, and they have to work in that to clear the structure. And also they have to be able to get back into their vehicle and go home. And I don't think people really understand how hard working with the worst of human nature. This is a sad case. Once again, the children have been placed with a relative that allegedly had no knowledge that the children were in this condo. I don't know what to think about that. But frankly, I don't think the children should be in the care of anybody related to Kelly Bryant. That's just my personal thing. Now, as for the biological father, his family, you know, maybe one of them, but not the mother's family, no. And this is not to be disrespectful to anyone related to Kelly Bryant that possibly didn't have any knowledge, you know, like a distant relative, but immediate family members such as brothers, sisters, grandparents, uncles, aunts that know her, dealt with her in the past couple of years. You knew of these kids and you knew you had not seen them, okay? So you not seeing these kids and never reporting it to 911, dispatch, or calling Department of Human Services means you're a party to this nonsense. Let's hear from a neighbor who said that the kids would yell outside the window and make conversation to him. Now we have somebody coming forward with the 411 of having short contact with the kids. Oh my goodness. We should have known this was coming. Lord help us, Jesus. What a hot butter mess. Also, I did a live stream late in the morning pertaining to Sebastian Rogers and this video that's been released. Post on my community page if you feel like the figure in the video is the child or relevance to the case. Police says the video has no relevance. They got access to it 72 hours after the child went missing. Wednesday will mark 1 year that the child was reported missing from his Hendersonville home by his biological mother, Katie Proudfoot. And also on Wednesday, the news will show a interview with her, I guess, and her husband, Christopher, if you're interested. Let's see how you all weighed. 40 people voted. Figure walking about alleged night of Sebastian's disappearance. Is it relevant? 24% said yes. 48% said no. 28% said not sure. Police says it's not relevant to the case. Is it Sebastian? 7% says it is him. 66% said not him. 27% of you said you're not sure. Thank you all so much for taking that poll, those polls. And also, here's a short video pertaining to the private investigator hired by the Proudfoots giving his rendition to that video. One person in my comment section said he altered the video, and basically it was a person walking their dog. That's who was walking in between the cars. I don't know, I wasn't there, but I'm going to lean on what the police is saying, that it's not relevant, and we will go with that. Let's go back to Pontiac, Michigan, everybody, to hear what this neighbor has to say pertaining to the children. Wow, wow, wow. The nonsense continues, does it not?
But we begin tonight with questions still swirling regarding 3 children that investigators say were abandoned for years inside a Pontiac home. Where was the mom living that whole time? Welcome to 7 News Detroit at 6. I'm Carolyn Clifford.
And I'm Mike Duffy. Thank you so much for joining us. Now, Kelly Bryant is facing federal charges of child abuse after investigators discovered her children living in filth and squalor for years. And today, our team found out where Bryant may have been living.
And that's not all. 7 News Detroit reporter Sarah Michaels is also listening to the children's grandparents tonight, and a neighbor who says he actually had interactions with the kids before.
Up until this point, many of us believed that the 3 children living in this home had no contact with anyone except for their mother for nearly 5 years. Well, today we learned that at least a handful of times they did call out to a neighbor. Was it just that one time?
Maybe 2 or 3 times.
A father himself, Jamar Johnson, tells me he felt the need to share that he heard the 3 kids abandoned in squalor in this Pontiac home. For 6 months, he has lived 2 doors down, and occasionally they yelled out their window to him.
Just, they say, hey, nice car. But, and I might wave back at them, but that's it. There's no way that I could have known that they were in a terrible situation.
Johnson says, how could he know that the room the children were calling from was stacked 4 feet high with mold, feces, and trash? He says he never saw them outside, but he saw their mother, 34-year-old Kelly Marie Bryant.
She would be outside for hours and hours with a friend.
Johnson says Bryant was always in a car with a friend. He never saw her go inside, and he wonders, who was that friend? Did they know who?
Okay, this is very crazy here. Children yelling out the window, but won't venture outside out of fear of the mother knowing that they've gone out for whatever reason, to get help, so on and so forth. Now we have a neighbor saying they would say something to him about his car 2 or 3 times. So when was the last time the kids opened the window and said something to you, sir? Now he also claims that he's seen the mother sitting outside for hours talking to someone in their car. Make this make some damn sense. So did this mother have a car? Because I asked you all that question days ago. I've asked every possible question I could think of pertaining to this dizzy broad and her behavior pertaining to these kids. Car. If she didn't have a car, who took her over there? Whoever took her over there. Because in this day and time, you need to ask people, hey, where are you going? How long are you going to be in there? Because you don't never know what you're going to be riding up on and getting yourself involved in. And especially when you're living in a major city or a suburb outside of Detroit, you better ask a whole lot of questions. So if she didn't have her own car, who took her over to this house? When was the last time she sat outside that house for hours? Make this make sense. Make this make some type of sense. We thought she was just dropping off food and or DoorDash was dropping off food. Now we have her neighbor saying, oh, she was sitting outside for hours talking to somebody in her car. This is the craziest thing I've ever heard. You're sitting outside a dilapidated, stinky apartment with your children inside of a condo, and you're sitting outside your car doing what? Talking about what? Your children this way? Oh, I need to get help. I'm a pitiful, horrible parent. I don't know why I'm doing this. I mean, help the queen understand, because I'm lost. I'm utterly lost. Why would you be sitting outside the car, in a car? So what season was this? Winter? This year? 24? Fall? Summer? Help the queen understand. And now we got to talk to whoever was driving her over there if she didn't have her own car. What did she tell you about this address? Did she tell you her children were in there with a babysitter or another family member? Make it make sense. Are we now going to find out somebody else knew about this address with these children in there unattended? Maybe they didn't know that the house was nasty, knew that the children were inside of this house.
Bryant was hiding.
She's from here, she's from there, we don't know where she resides.
So many have been wondering where Bryant herself lived while her children sat in isolation. Court documents showed 2 addresses. At one of them, I talked to a woman who confirmed Bryant was living here.
Were you guys living together?
The house is about 6 minutes away from where Bryant's children were. The woman behind the door telling me that Bryant always told them the kids were with their dad, and Bryant actually played with other people's kids. The 3 children, ages 15, 13, and 12, are currently staying with their maternal grandpa. Over the phone, their paternal grandpa, Samuel White, tells me he and the kids' father have been trying to see the kids for years.
But it just hurt because it's not the fact that she had to take them through that. Why would she do that and that wasn't the situation?
White says that he personally asked Bryant to bring the kids around. The answer was always no, begging the final question, and perhaps the biggest question, why would she do this?
How are you guys coping with that?
I mean, it's sickening because it was like we wasn't running from the situation. We always asked about them. They doing all right, but it's a lot of scar there. It's a lot of scars.
Bryant will be back in court March 4th for a probable cause conference. In Pontiac, Sarah Michaels, 7 News, Detroit.
All right, so paternal. That means father's father. So the father's father has the children. Let me make that clear in this conversation. Because I was so concerned. God, please tell me they're not with her mother's people. And naturally, when you have a case this severe, they usually won't put the children in the care of the mother. Let's say if it's the mother, they wouldn't put the children in the mother's family member's care just because they don't want the mother getting access to the children. And if it was the father, same thing. So due to the fact that the father had been trying to allegedly reach out to the children, get some type of court intervention, I guess they decided to let them have the children. But we have to also pray that these people are fit to have the children. Because just because somebody says, oh, we want the kids, we want to see the kids, we were denied rights to the children or see the kids, that still don't mean you're fit either. And we're just keeping it real. Because the father's been to prison. Hey, everybody makes mistakes. Don't know what he went for. Everyone can redeem themselves. But all that matters because you don't want the children in harm's way again. So I'm assuming the state did a background check on this grandfather before putting the kids in his care. And 2, it may just be temporary because we got to see how the children interact with these people that's in the house. We don't know how many people are living in the house. Is the grandfather married? Is it his son's mother? See, we got a lot of questions to ask. Does the son live there with the father, the children's biological father? Thousands of questions you can ask. But what we want is the best for the children, that they are in the best care. And I had said it before, and I'll continue to say it, and I'll say it in the next case. I don't believe in putting the children with nobody directly related to the perpetrator. So whether it's the mother, the father, whomever, hell no. Hell no. So it's the father's father. He says the kids are doing okay, but right now you're only talking about what? 1 week in. 1 week in. And the children obviously can't use the restroom. They don't know how to use the restroom. They don't know how to use cleaning products, hygiene products. And it's just hard for anyone to even imagine a child, 12, 13, 15, not knowing how to use a toothbrush, toothpaste, don't know how to sit on the commode, wipe themselves, flush it, wash their hands, take a shower, wash their hair. The girls probably had to get all their hair cut off because their hair was matted. They probably need their hair treated for lice, bugs, cooties, all those things. Naturally, as you grow, you get hair on your body, pubic hair. They probably have to make sure all that's shaved off, not to be disrespectful, but just saying those are things you have to do coming from this type of situation. You're going to have to shave the hair, body hair, to make sure, they're not carrying any bugs with them. This is atrocious. And sadly, there are other children probably living the same damn way. We keep hearing all these ratchet stories of ratchet ass baby mamas and daddies who just want to be out here in the street running around, popping and dropping it like it's hot and going live in videos and breaking the law and trafficking drugs and getting high and getting drunk. It's the same story every damn day. Leaving the kids in the car, hot cars, leaving the kids in the car in the dead of winter to go shop, to go gamble, play bingo, go to the casino. You can just go to YouTube Q and just pull up bad mom, bad dad. You're going to see countless of videos, news coverage, documentaries of very horrible parents. And I get it. There's no guidebook in how to be a good parent because everybody has their own ideology on what a good parent looks like. But you cannot exact mental abuse, physical abuse, starve your child, lock your child up, deny them school, deny them friends, deny them fresh air, deny them to bathe. You know better. And this mother, or this heathen rather, she knew better. Now, this female who opened the door, who is she? How long has she been living with this female? Did you know anything about these children being at 660 Lydia Lane? She told you they were with the father. But did you ever ask her, well, why you don't bring your children around? Why we don't see you visiting your children? Why don't we see you in pictures with your children? Why don't we see pictures uploaded on your Facebook page of the children going to school? Bingo card. Come on with it, Quay. So I'm a realist. You could spin all the stories you want to people about the kids, but somebody knew better. Because even if you say, oh, well, they're with their father, the kids have to go to school. They take school pictures, don't they? Most schools still take school pictures. So wouldn't you be wondering, okay, it's fall. I don't see any school pictures. Okay, it's winter. I don't see any school pictures of her children. I don't see her with her children. I don't see her visiting with her children. I don't see her sharing videos of her children. And these children are under 18. And nobody thought that wasn't strange, peculiar? Come on now. Come on now. Nobody found this strange. This woman never posting a picture of her children, talking about them, never sharing videos, birthdays, holidays. And just imagine these kids were in this deplorable condo Easter, Christmas, birthday, Thanksgiving, 4th of July, smelling like boo-boo on their clothes, nails, their hair matted, toenails long. What about the girls starting their cycles? Oh, nobody talked about that. Oh, yes, that is what happens to young girls. They get a menstrual cycle. Now imagine that. Imagine a young girl can't clean her body and she's having a flow every month for about a week with no sanitary napkins or tampons. I want you to think about that. And they may not even got cycles due to the fact of how they were living in this apartment. Because we know that with high stress, it can cause your cycle to be delayed. And maybe young girls didn't even have a cycle. But just imagine if they did, if they do, they had a cycle living in this horrible rat's nest. They're bleeding on themselves, don't have no way to wipe themselves, clean themselves off, defecate, they can't wipe themselves. They urinate, they can't wipe themselves. And I just still can't believe these kids would not walk outside that door to say, the hell with this. I don't care what she says. I'm walking out of here. Let's go get help. Let's dial 911. Because they had access to a TV and video games. So there's no way. I'm just trying to understand how these kids are watching TV, watching commercials, playing video games. Their mind doesn't veer from that to say, you know what? Other people aren't living like this. Other people aren't living like this. This isn't real. This isn't real how we're living. This is not, it was real, but you understand what I'm saying. This isn't the way we're supposed to be living. Let's go out of here. Did they ever plot to walk out together? Hey, let's do this together. Let's leave. But maybe one or two said, no, we can't, Mom. She'll do something to us. She'll hurt us. Did this woman threaten these children with physical violence? Because our understanding is that she did tell these kids they could not come out. What did she say to them exactly? Did she threaten to hurt them, unalive them? They feared her. Obviously they did. They were still in there. And just imagine had she still continued to pay the rent. They would still be in this filthy condo. We learned a citation sent to the city about the owner not using the place for tax exempt and using it as a rental property, not registering it. When was somebody going to ever come out to check the place? We learned that a banister was put on, but they didn't have to go inside. So if somebody put a new railing on there a few years ago while the children were living there, you didn't smell the stench coming from the apartment? Make this make sense. No neighbors smelled anything. Nobody walking by, walking their dog, going in and out to their cars, visiting smelled the stench of this apartment. Just like the lady said, the neighbor. When you cook, you can smell odors of, somebody else's apartment cooking. God knows I can. I have a neighbor that cooks all the time. He just cooks. He's frying stuff every day. And trust me, it seeps right through the walls. So I'm trying to understand how nobody can smell the filth and stench from this apartment. Now we have a neighbor saying the kids called out to him through the window, making commentary about his car. Then he says he saw the mother out for hours sitting out in a car with somebody. So nobody thought to call the police about a strange car sitting out there. So what you have to tell yourself, if he lived 2 doors down, he saw the mother sitting out there for hours in the car. We don't know when the last time she did this. The neighbors, you all never saw her sitting out there in the car and thought it was suspicious? The same lady bringing by food and then sitting in the car for hours? Make it make sense, because this commentary don't make no sense. I'm gonna drop off food and then I'm gonna walk back down the stairs and sit in a car for hours. Doing what? Doing what? Prayers for these children, because they need our prayers. They need our prayers. I brought y'all a story yesterday of a Stefan White here in Knoxville, Tennessee. He got 21 years for killing his roommate over dog poop. My understanding, I thought the person he murdered was the person who was not walking the dog. I stand corrected. Mr. White is the one who wasn't walking the dog. He had 2 dogs. The victim confronted him about not walking his dogs, allowing his dogs to poop on the property. So he shot the victim because I guess, hey, he's probably giving him an ultimatum. You're going to have to get the hell out of here. Take your dogs with you. But I always thought it was the other way around, so excuse me for that discrepancy. Stefan White, 35 years of age, African-American male, has a 21-year sentence without parole for murdering his roommate because the roommate told him he needed to pick up after his dogs. Very wicked story coming out of my area. 21 years in prison he has to serve. So he'll be about 56, 57. Once again, the search continues for the boater, Gary Jones, who is still believed to be under the water in Lake Oconee down in Georgia. So far, they have not recovered his body. The funeral of his fiancée was on Thursday, Miss Jocelyn Wilson. They've had her funeral, and he is still, as I said, believed to be in the water. And now they got an update saying JetBlue pilot arrested as he was preparing for his flight, facing child sex charge after being detained on a plane. That's one of my updates. I get all these crazy notifications. Let's talk about this guy right here, and then I'm going to check out of here. This is how we know that everybody in the world is damn crazy. Why are you all supporting this man who unalived a CEO of United Healthcare? Please explain to me. We get it. There are many people who do wrong, many people who have unsavory practices, companies, pharmaceutical companies, healthcare companies. They don't want to pay for your meds. They don't want to pay for special surgeons, specialists to see. But when you think about improprieties by people in general, we have nasty people everywhere. Nasty landlords, nasty management companies, nasty tenants, nasty government workers, state, local, sheriff, police department, FBI, U.S. Marshals, federal government. Do you understand what I'm saying? They're cruel people everywhere. But do we have the right to go out and gun them down on a public street? Let's talk about it. Why are people supporting this young man? Help. What is the deal?
Another really good lawyer, one of the sharpest legal minds in the game. It's Joe Tacopina. He's a criminal defense attorney. He's a former prosecutor. He is also fresh off of a very big win in the ASAP Rocky assault case. I guess we now call you ASAP Joe, but welcome to the program. Joey Tack, it's nice to see you again. ASAP Joe.
Hey, Ashley, how you doing? Sorry for the fancy attire. I've spent 5 weeks in a suit every day, so I'm just done with suits for a few weeks. So.
And I'm sure I heard somebody say that you were off to the gym as well. Listen, you can show up any way you like, Joey. You and I go back, what, years or 25 years or something like that. I feel like I'd be steaming too. If I were a defense lawyer and I was watching HBO and I saw a bunch of evidence being presented by cops and a mayor that I hadn't received in discovery yet, I'd be mad. But is there anything really wrong with that?
Well, it gives a perception of a sort of a lack of sort of priority. It gives a perception of lack of fairness. I mean, you're basically showing evidence that hasn't even been deemed to be admissible yet to potential jurors who, we don't know if that's coming in or not coming in. That shouldn't be done. Look, that office did it. In my case, when I had the so-called rape cops case, which they were acquitted of being rape cops, even though they were called rape cops for 2 years, that case, the same thing happened. The Sex Crimes Bureau did a whole documentary for HBO, and they were discussing the evidence in the case. And it's first of all, we should have had all of that information. We should have had the statements that were made because they were discoverable. They were statements made by witnesses in the case. We didn't find out about it until after the trial. Fortunately, we won, and nothing really came of it. But it's just not a good look. And really, honest to God, with all the issues you have going on with this case already, to go on TV and give fodder for the defense, to make some noise, it's really not a smart move. I mean, Eric Adams doesn't seem like he can do anything right now. He's a hot mess. Why he would do that? Why the PD?
Ladies, I don't know what to call them. They're Luigi fans, but also online. Like, it's wild out there, Joe. Online, the supporters that this accused executioner, has. Which brings me to my next question: is it possible for Luigi Mangione jury and a fair trial?
I think the question should be inverted. Is it possible for the district attorney's office and people in the state of New York to get a fair trial? I mean, look at these morons. I'm sorry, I don't know what else to call them. But anyone who's out there with a free Luigi sign, wearing those stupid, ridiculous hats, thinking that it's really a funny thing that a guy who's accused of cowardly assassination of a father of two on the eve of Christmas, it should be freed because they have a problem with the healthcare industry. Like, he's some righteous killer because they're going against the bohemian, corporate America. Well, if that's the case, we should start killing these chairman of BP.
Exactly.
Everybody. Oil into the sea and all these other industries we don't like. I mean, you might as well hit every, there's that's United Healthcare. What about Oxford? What about all these other healthcare CEOs? Do they get murdered?
It's true.
Murdered. But I mean, look at this. This is disgusting. What a coward. And then he runs away. It's just,
well, a lot of people, I'll tell you, Joe, a lot of people have said, were he not so handsome, this would not be raging in the press the way it is. It just wouldn't be the same.
That's the victim.
Really hope that's not
There's the victim of the case, right?
Yeah, I really hope that's not the case, because we look so stupid as a society. What I'm hearing, which really drives me crazy, is Ivy League schools and students at Ivy League schools are, which makes me think we are so backwards.
Yes, we are. We are so backwards, indeed. That's why I said we as people are hypocrites. We aid certain things we know we don't have any business aiding in wrongdoing. And then the next minute we'll say that we care about children. We care about the elderly. We care about the disabled. We care about health care. We care about people being able to take care of themselves, be able to eat. But we'll douse people gasoline on word about where a person stays, if they're getting any help from the government, or if they're getting any help with a place to live, or they're getting food stamps. That's what I'm saying. You got to think about what you're standing for and what you're standing against. Because as he said, do we just go out here and shoot everybody? Because in the end, you can just shoot people just to be shooting them, which a lot of people are doing anyway. Just because I don't like the way he looks, the way he looked at me, he's for the other team, boom, get a gun, shoot him, murder him. No robbery, no nothing. Killing people on sight. That's why I said there's improprieties done every day, from local government to housing to federal government, healthcare, pharmacies, pharmaceutical companies, hospitals. There's always somebody doing something they ain't got business. That's life. The nurse didn't do her job. She put the wrong medicine in the IV. She was drunk. She was high. She was sleepy. Somebody didn't make the bed, turn the patient over, didn't change their diaper. You see where I'm going with this? Jail, same thing. Giving a person a bond when they've been accused of molesting children, raping women, raping men. But you give them a bond. You let them out to walk around. There are injustices everywhere. Because man and woman, they are the creatures navigating everything. And naturally, we do not have to agree with the decisions that are made by people, because there's somebody over everything. Your apartment complex, condo association, HOA, it's all the same. Somebody is over something that you deal with. And you may not like how they're navigating. You may not like their opinions. That's why they tell you to go to meetings, voice your opinion, anything you think that's inappropriate, illegal. Attorney, you do what you have to do to get the word out. That is the only way things can change. But you cannot change things by murdering people. Because if that's the case, you can murder a person every day on the smallest of a discrepancy or disagreement. We have so many things that people are doing wrong in the justice system, healthcare profession, landlord business, property management, real estate. I mean, everything you could think of, there is something wrong and done wrong and illegal. Somebody at the grocery store is doing something they don't got no business. Think about it. There is something illegal in every avenue of life. But do we have the right to go out and murder the person? No, we bring awareness to what they're doing and what they're aiding, and we call for them to get their ass out of the way, step down, removed, fired. That's what we do. When we see that there are improprieties done, we call attention to it. You go make your videos. You go to the news. You go on your TikTok or your whatever. Out there. That is the only way you can get change. But not murdering people. And a lot of people think this guy's a hero. But if you look at his expression here, you can see that there's something wrong with him. You take away the fact of the parent that was sick or ailing health. You look at this character here. There's something wrong with him. because his behavior is asinine. All that hollering and screaming and jumping up and down and making all these facial expressions in court. You know you're not supposed to be doing that in court. That leads me to believe that there's something wrong with this person. And maybe he would have been off kilt if he didn't have a sick parent, okay? Let's keep it real. That it could be some other situation, scenario he didn't like, didn't agree with, and he would have done the same damn thing. And common sense should tell you that he would have. He found another topic that he didn't like. He wasn't in agreement with what they were doing. He would have went and done the same damn thing, purchased a weapon, found the person, lied in wait, hunted the person down, and murdered them in cold blood. And that's a very dangerous person. So if he can murder this CEO, he can just as well murder the person next door with the barking dog, the girl who decided she didn't want to like him, show him any attention, wouldn't return a phone call or message. Do you see where I'm going with this? He's unglued. He's unglued. And I get it. You care about your friends, your family, your parents. You want the best for them. You want them to get adequate health care. You want them to get seen by a doctor. You want them to be seen by specialists. You want them to get access to medicine. I get it. Because everybody's needed to see a specialist. A specialist at some point you needed to go to sustain life. But you can't go stalk people and kill them. What you do is you call attention to the person. Say, hey, I don't like your practices. Hey, we know what's going on. You're not helping the little people survive. Hey, I have a sick mother. She needs adequate care. And she's being denied. That's what you do. You go to the news. You rock the boat. You call out his name. You start from the bottom and you make your way to the top. You call everybody's name out that you know. You rattle the cage. That's what you do. But you don't. And the fact that people are supporting this thing, you better pray that one day it's not your mother, father, son, brother on the chopping block, lying face down in the street because somebody thought they did something wrong. And then you'll be up here wailing and crying to the news. I don't know why they did it. He's a great guy. She's a great lady. They wouldn't hurt a fly. Says, that's the point. Everything's about interpretation. The worst a man or woman is idolized by somebody, as you can see with what's going on with our national government. Somebody puts them on a pedestal and they damn near sucking their butt cheek. Until it's their turn to realize that person don't give a fuck about them, then woe is me. They're crying and moaning, like what everybody's doing right now with everything number 47. Now everybody's being affected by his decision-making in the White House. Now everybody's crying and moaning. Well, you should have paid attention. As I always told people, I'm woke. I've been woke. I stay woke. Because you don't put your faith in man. And I see right now this country going downhill because a lot of people's lives are going to be affected with all these executive decisions by number 47, from all this ICE raids, deportations, firing of federal workers, federal people in probationary status, downsizing government offices. There's going to be somebody that's going to become unhinged like this fool here. That's what's on its way. So some nice guy, nice lady that everybody thought was sweet and kind, do anything for you, they're going to end up popping off because they can't pay their bills, pay their car note, pay their mortgage, finish paying for their schooling, take care of their children. And they're going to pop off because things aren't going their way. And you can best believe it's on its way. And if you think this is a problem right here and people aiding this MF, well, you just wait to see what's going to happen before this year is out with all these firings and programs being dismantled, government programs which help with Meals on Wheels, helps with school programs for children. It's about to be do or die out here, survival of the fittest. And everybody better wake up. because that's what's wrong with a lot of us. We live in a bubble and we think things don't affect us. Because that ain't me, that ain't my problem. I ain't got that going on. Well, now somebody's sitting looking and they're saying, damn, I've been misled. I voted for the wrong person. They're trying to take me down. This is why they tell you never say never. Never say where you will and won't be. We got to stop being so judgmental about other people's situations and circumstances to say that do that. Well, you don't got to do nothing. Wake up. You don't have to do anything. Mr. 47 has made that decision for you. Checkmate. Now you got to reap ramifications of executive orders. Some have been fought by the Supreme Court. Some are still being pushed through. But I feel sorry for a lot of people because they're getting ready to see how bad it can get. Then the flip side is, oh well, that's who you wanted in there. So deal with it. Everyone's going to have his or her own opinion pertaining to these executive orders. But what I say to you today is, we shouldn't be. But as I've always said, you don't also know what situation you're going to also be in. So it's a double-edged sword. People pop off. People lose their minds. People can't cope. And I think that's what's going to happen here in the next 10 months. We're going to have some more Luigis running around, Mad Hatters, who have lost their jobs, who have been fired, let go, people in need of food, medical care, certain programs, just like right now, cutting grants to Black colleges. Why? Those kids, they earn that. It's not free to get a scholarship. You have to earn a scholarship, for those who don't know. So how's it fair to these African-American students, brown students that want to go to college, and now they don't have the opportunity because certain scholarships are being shut down by the federal government because of number 47. You don't get to go to college for 4 years because you had a 2.0 or 1.0 grade point average. You have to follow a criteria for certain scholarships. So you earn the right to get that scholarship, not given to you. That's what's going on right now in America. A tyrant, mad at the world, vengeful because of what happened many years ago when he was in office. He's mad at the government. He's mad at everybody who he thinks played a part in his dismantling. But my thing is, you're still here, you're still walking, you're still free, number 47. And you have yet to stand in a jail cell or a prison. So who are you mad at? What do they always say? Vengeance is mine. But the Lord said it's his, not us. He's angry. He's bitter. He's a sore loser. And he better hope he can make it these next 4 years without having any mishaps or accidents. Because this is a prime example of a so-called right fighter who don't mind taking your ass down because of shit that you're allegedly doing or doing. I'm just saying. He already had a mishap last summer. And with what he's doing right now in the White House, I got a funky suspicion he might have another nasty accident. And maybe this time, he won't be the winner. Like, share, subscribe, drop your comments below this video. Check the polls on my community page. Follow the Queen on the Newsbreak app. And if you'd like to donate to this great network, $ Big Angie, 129 Cash App. Stickers and chats are always welcome during the live stream. Please check out my community page for said updates to breaking news and covered stories. And I will continue to post you information about the 3 children abandoned in Pontiac, Michigan. The mother's currently in a county jail, $250 million bond. She has not posted bond. She is not to have any contact with her said children. And she's facing life for leaving those children in squalor. And I'm praying for their safety and their safe journey in life, and for them to be able to adjust to their new surroundings and to this, what will be considered a new world. And also prayers for America, because we need it. We need them right now. If you are a Christian and you believe in God, you know God got it despite everything that's going on. So best you hold on to faith, continue praying. God got this. He's got this. He's got this journey. Thank you for following this network. Welcome our new viewers and subscribers. Thank you all so much for your time. Wonderful weekend. Stay safe. You have been listening to the Vote Excel.